Hello everyone, it finally happened, the day is finally here. I got my Wesley goal in Time Crisis 3, got the run under 22 minutes in-game time. Really pleased about this one. Unfortunately, it was off stream. I just had a sort of burst of motivation to play off stream and ended up hitting it, which is really cool, but then I don't have like a nice sort of commentated run. So I figured I'd make one now. It would also be a good opportunity to go over some of the interesting parts about this game and what makes it a interesting speedrun, as opposed to how games like this are traditionally played, which is in an arcade setting, chasing like a scoreboard. The primary thing, in my opinion, that differentiates like a good player from a great player is your aim. Shooting enemies in the upper body or head will actually have a way shorter death animation versus shooting in like the foot or lower body. So you'll notice here even that I try and go for headshots. Typically the 3-shot is, like shooting enemies 3 times, is going to be quicker as well. But in certain sections you're sort of on a timer, like this one here. It doesn't really matter how fast you shoot these enemies on a screen like this, for example. As long as you get that ammo guy there. Which sort of leads nicely into the next point, your ammo management. You've got your special weapons down there, your machine gun, shotgun, grenade launcher, and your default handgun. Tracking your ammo for particularly the machine gun and the grenade launcher is like your main skill. Your handgun has infinite ammo, but you do have to reload it. The machine gun does about the same damage as the handgun, but fires, automatically. Your shotgun will do about the same damage as well, but in a burst of like 5 shots at the same time. So this can be really nice for clearing close-up enemies. And the grenade launcher is almost exclusively used against bosses. There's very few screens that you'll actually use the grenade launcher to clear enemies. This is something I didn't actually know about the speedrunners, about this game until the speedrun as well, was that turret in the background is our boss for this level. You can actually shoot it from all the way back here. So you'll see me getting in shots when I can. I took a really weird hit here. I was really surprised by that. Getting shot costs you about 1.5 seconds. There's some cases where it can sort of... You can take an intentional death to save time, but it's almost always slower to get shot and take damage, so you try not to. So this next screen, I do use the shotgun here because I actually want to save machine gun ammo. It is a tiny bit slower than the machine gun, but it doesn't really matter. And of course, because of all those shots we landed on the turret before, we do get to just clear it in a single grenade shot, which is really fast, really easy as well. And that was a gold split, which is really nice. So those are sort of your primary skills, is managing your ammo, making sure that you shoot the yellow enemies 3 times each to get as much ammo as possible, and just knowing how much ammo you have at each time. Aim will sort of come to you as you practice more and more. And of course, memorizing the sort of enemy patterns. Here's one of the few times that I'll actually use grenades against a wave of enemies, and then I've got a little setup here to get that car as it comes in as well, which is really something that I figured out, which is really consistent too, which is nice, because that car can sometimes be a real pain. If you're familiar with Time Crisis as well, you might be wondering why I'm not like shooting some of the background objects, such as like the barrels in stage 1. Sometimes it's just a lot slower. This is one of the cases where it's a lot faster. Shooting that barrel there is way faster. As opposed to a section coming up quite soon, where shooting... So a car's going to pop through the right wall here. Shooting that car, way slower. Of course you can't see the enemies, but if you take him out, that's way quicker. And there's a lot of just like memorizing your enemy patterns. I used to use the shotgun here, but I don't think I hit it here, but you can get a really fast kill on that red guy right at the end, if you use the machine gun instead. It's just one of those things, if you're managing your ammo well, if you're low on machine gun ammo, I would use the shotgun there. This screen coming up, the first screen here, is one of those ones where it doesn't really seem intuitive, the order that I kill enemies in. But the reason that I do is because those enemies will almost certainly pop out and shoot me. I did actually miss that guy there, which cost me about maybe a second. But yeah, remembering what enemies... Because some enemies on the screen just can't shoot you. As long as you can sit there for as long as you want, but they just like won't shoot you. So knowing which enemies will shoot you and taking them out first. There's a pretty troll enemy coming up in the second wave here. That red guy that pops out from the barrel, I'm not sure if you can see him. But yeah, he pretty much pops up and shoots you straight away. So making sure that you get onto enemies like that as soon as you can. Making sure that they die first. That's really important. So this will be our first major boss fight of the run. This plane's going to come in nice and close to the shotgun. Really, really effective at taking out these like little turrets. But it kind of dips away, so you duck back to the machine gun. I do actually think that against a bunch of like guys in jeeps are going to come up. I actually think in some cases the shotgun may be better. The only exception being that car up there that's really far away. You do get time to switch to the shotgun though. I think that might be quicker. It's something that I've probably missed. You can see there I kind of mucked about. Didn't really get that guy as quick as I could have. But yeah, that's just something. That's like optimization. You don't really need to do stuff like that. A kind of weird quirk with the grenade launcher as well is that it does actually have travel time. So you can see I shoot that really early. These two yellow guys here as well on top of the plane are really important because they'll each drop a grenade. So making sure that you get both of those grenades is super important. Because, yeah, there's one phase of the boss taken out. Here's another. Then we've got some more guys. And we're just going to shoot him with the grenade again. Like, pretty much every single time. Because it's instant. You can time it. I can shoot a little bit earlier, but that's like frames. That's like saving frames. I don't need to do that quite yet. So this will be the sort of final phase of the boss. He's going to bring out a variety of weapons and we'll answer them in different ways. You can actually sometimes, it's random kind of whether or not you'll get shot there, but I usually like to be ready for it and duck anyway. So here he comes out with the minigun phase. The minigun sort of acts as a shield. So as both characters, you'll shoot his right foot because he never really covers it with the minigun. Shotgun here as well because we're nice and close. And the grenade to finish him off. He can only be hit when he's holding his gun out. So I guess you use that as like a signal. I think I lost a little bit more time here as well. No, I broke even. That's what it was. So there's stage 1 of 3. Hopefully at this point you sort of get an idea of the basic premises of the speedrun through my unguided rambling. It's a lot of, yeah, memorizing where your enemies are, managing your ammo, making sure that you get all of your ammo from those yellow drops, or the yellow guys. And yeah, aiming for the head mostly, because that does have a shorter death animation. Here as well, this car actually can, that's one of your like environmental hazards, like the barrels or, you know, the other vehicles. But it's something that I think is slower. A bit of poor accuracy there, which I was a bit actually like annoyed about at the time. I almost considered resetting. For this stage, as Wesley in particular, it's sort of more important to have at least one grenade going into this level. And you'll see why. This is one of the few levels where we actually use grenades a lot against enemies. It's from here as well that guys with shields will actually become a lot more common. Same with red enemies, who will shoot you a lot more commonly. I think there's 2 here, yeah. So we get the 1 grenade from this guy, so we should have 2 going up to here. So in this group of enemies, the quickest way to clear this is a direct hit on the guy on the far right with a grenade. That is the absolute quickest way to clear that screen. It's like when you compare it against like a shotgun, for example, it's actually like night and day. I used to use shotgun to clear that section, but yeah, no, it's so much slower. So for the next couple screens, I think the shotgun's a lot better. These chaotic, evil enemies that will just shoot rockets directly up into the air, they're sort of batched up in nice groups, which is nice for the shotgun. Same with this wave here. This screen as well coming up is a huge difference between Alan and Wesley, because Alan will use the machine gun here because he's sort of far away from the enemies, whereas Wesley gets to just sort of rail on them with the shotgun. And so that screen there, that's why 2 grenades is so important, because there's 2 huge waves of enemies. That would take so long to clear. With that grenade launcher, it's so much easier. A couple of semi-random shots coming out there. Sometimes the enemies will shoot you, sometimes they don't. It's sort of dependent on how quickly you get to them. And even sometimes if you're like pre-firing, they'll still just shoot you. So you've kind of got to be ready. A little bit of reactions involved. This next phase is probably my weakest aspect. Or like something that I'm like the weakest at in this game. These guys on the shotguns are... On the bikes are the absolute bane of my existence. The amount of times I've run out of shotgun ammo here is embarrassing. Like you can see, I've only got like 6 left. But there is an ammo pickup here, which I think drops 2 shotguns? No, just 1. Yeah, this was... I lost a huge amount of time here, actually. Probably, I think like 3 or 4 seconds. Yeah, that would have been about 4 seconds versus my PB. Oh, it's so... It just moves too fast. It's a really, really tough section. I've thought about keeping an extra grenade, but I don't think it's worth it. I think it would... It's just not worth it. This level as well shows, at least the later stages of the level, you'll see why ammo management is so important. If the screen before didn't, where I got punished for it by losing about 4 seconds, the submarine phase is really, really rough if you don't have the right ammo to like accommodate it. This is a really fun stage though, in my opinion. It's kind of frustrating, but it's a great, like it's a level that feels really good to nail. This screen in particular, kind of annoying. It's better on the Alan side, but on Wesley's side, Alan's in the way. I believe in 2-player, if you shoot your friend, they actually lose a life. But I've actually never played this game co-op, so I wouldn't know. So this level as well will show another enemy type. These dudes that hop around with the claws, they can be mad annoying. Shotgun typically the best way to clear them because they get up close to you. So, and I think they take 3 shots to kill. So the shotgun will completely clear them off the screen because you can shoot every enemy an extra 2 times. So for here, I did notice that I was pretty low on machine gun ammo. So I switched back to the pistol. Typically, I would do this whole section with the machine gun. I don't really know why I was so low on machine gun ammo. I think my accuracy just kind of sucked, and I wasted a lot of bullets. This section as well is really, really tricky. On the Alan side, it's not so bad, but Wesley's side, it's pain. Probably one of the slowest sections that I've done. Yeah, I took a hit here. I was supposed to use a grenade on that one, which is a little bit disappointing. I don't think I should have taken that hit. I think I have 2 grenades left, which is exactly how many I need. No, 3. Yeah, I should have used a grenade earlier, because I should have ended this stage with 0 grenades. But I think I still golded this. Yes, I did. So this train level is where if your ammo management is poor, this is sort of where you get really punished for it. These opening few screens, if you don't have much ammo, it's really difficult. Or at the very least, if you're going to have bad ammo, you need to be really, really good with the handgun. I think this was probably, at least the train phase, my boss fight was really good. But the actual train phase itself was kind of average. The Wesley side's a lot harder than Alan in this, in my opinion, just because his point of view is moving around a lot more than Alan's. Because, yeah, you're not actually in control of which way you're facing. It's a rail shooter, so you're not actually in control of it. And Alan's is just like, Alan's point of view here is just so much more, like, stable. So yeah, this boss, super frustrating because he does just fly and zip around. However, and you'll see later, yeah, that was actually kind of slow. You'll see later, basically, if you remember this game, if you played this game a lot, you'll remember this boss being super annoying because he does just flip around the bridge and jump from wall to wall and kind of fly around really obnoxiously. However, I believe Kaz discovered this. There's basically a way to bypass all of that nonsense and get him into like a really predictable phase where he's also really up close to you. So the shotgun's really, really nice. The shotgun and the grenade launcher is what I'll almost exclusively use against this boss coming up. So you'll see that I do this in a very, very particular pattern. So you don't shoot the boss here. Shotgun this guy as he comes in. Switch to the grenade launcher. No, that was in another PB. I missed that grenade shot. So he'll come up here. Don't shoot him. Shoot this guy instead. And then you just turn around and grenade him twice. No flipping around, no flying, jumping from wall to wall. It's a really, really straightforward and really, really fast way to kill that boss. If you can memorize that pattern as well, it's extremely consistent. As I sort of half mentioned before, there was one of my earlier PBs where I missed that initial grenade shot on him. But I still managed to execute the pattern, which goes to show that, like, yeah, even if you make a minor mistake like that, it's still super consistent. This stage, I believe, is the longest stage in the game. I'm fairly confident it's the longest stage, because this has both a sort of normal section and a boss fight section, with Wild Dog and the new Wild Fang as well. This section, though, in my opinion, way easier as Wesley. Way, way easier as Wesley. He just gets shot less during this section. Like, in this screen as Alan, I think there's like 3 enemies that are threatening. Whereas Wesley, there's like 1, I think. 1 or 2. This tank as well just unloads all of its ammo onto Alan. Whereas Wesley only gets shot like once, which is nice. This is another one where you'll get, against the boss rather, you'll get really, really punished if you don't have the right amount of ammo, or if you haven't been picking up ammo from the yellow enemies. There's a couple in the background here that you've got to really make sure you get. That guy in particular drops 2 grenades, which is huge for the next boss fight. This screen in particular, with these guys flying around, I actually don't know how to do this properly. I should look it up, but I really just... It's something that I've never really felt like I needed to look up. Unless I was pushing for a better time. So 2 grenades coming into this fight is exactly how many you need. The Wild Dog and Wild Fang boss fights also have this weird quirk where sometimes when their health drops, they don't actually die. Like you saw there. I sort of had to give him like another shot. The tell is when they make like they like grunt and sort of do a leaning back animation like they've been hit. This boss is also really funny to me just because they just pop in like really threateningly and then you shoot them once and they run away. But yeah, the tell is they'll sort of grunt and then run away. It's really hard to tell sometimes though. And then you'll be like, wait, why isn't this screen ending? I dropped their health bars. Nah, shoot him again. This is the last ammo pickup we get for this stage, and there's a grenade there. You absolutely need 3 grenades at least going into this next stage. You'll lose a lot of time without 3 grenades. Yeah, I got caught by the exact trick that I was just describing. So yeah, you absolutely need at least 3 grenades going to this next section. So you'll see why. Pretty much every time they're sitting together, you'll just grenade them. So there's once, we clear some enemies here, shoot them again, and then they fly away. That saves an unbelievable amount of time. And they get nice and close. There's Wild Fang. Clear him, he's done. And there's the boss. It's funny because, like, This is actually a really, really hard boss fight. But when you're watching it, it really doesn't look that hard. Your grenade aim has to be really, really switched on. Because there's just like a weird quirk where sometimes only one of them will die, or sometimes your grenade will just phase through the boxes instead of blowing up on contact. Really random stuff like that can happen, so being switched on with your aim is really, really important. I should have actually been using the pistol here, to be honest. There was no reason to use the machine gun. Or at the very least, if I was going to use the machine gun, I should be here. I think I took a hit here. Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunate. Oh, another one. So this is a example of a time where, despite taking a continue, I actually lost no time. Because this game is all timed in in-game time. So my RTA on the left there is just sort of a general idea of how my pace is going. But given that like that continue happened entirely during the like transition from one screen to another, I believe I actually lost 0 seconds. Which is kind of nice. There are some times where you can do it intentionally, but basically for that opportunity to be available to you, you have to get shot 3 times beforehand, which will cost you about 5 seconds. So, again, ideally you just don't take any damage. But I have found that there are times where if you are on 1 health, there is an opportunity to take that hit and it doesn't cost any time. And especially because we're playing on a PS2, we're not sinking, you know, several dollars into this per run. Though that would make me take every single run a lot more seriously. This is just sort of like the... How do I say? The, like, this is where all of your prior knowledge and skills will really, like, be rewarded. This whole section right here. Oh, I ended up messing up this section, actually, here. Yeah, I took a hit. Oh, damn. I think I still golded this, though. Yeah, I did. This is a really good run, actually. So I think my RTA gets messed up a bit here because I let this cutscene rock a little bit longer than I usually would. It would usually end, like, here. So how much did I waste? About 2 seconds. Cool. So yeah, this final boss fight, he is... Honestly, I think he's easier as Alan. He's got a lot of different phases. He'll shoot you from a lot of different angles. It's just a case of memorizing it. Yeah, there I almost took another hit here. So I don't actually need to clear those guys with the shotgun, but that phase there is a lot quicker with the shotgun, so I sort of get it out in advance. This section here can be a real pain. I think there's another one, yeah. I don't need to use a shotgun here at all, but that phase can take so long if you don't have the shotgun out. Or if you don't kill him on that, like, first phase where he's popping out at you. So coming up... Actually, it's quite a while away. I'll wait. This screen here, though, is, like, probably one of the most threatening screens in the game on both sides. A lot of those enemies will shoot you. Even, like, the green guys or guys that will drop ammo. Yeah, it's this screen here. So this is a really weird screen. So enemies will come out in waves until the catwalk hits the ground. So I found, just don't shoot anyone. There is a slight optimization where you kill this second claw guy that jumps at you, and you'll end about half a second quicker. But you just move on, yeah, like, you just move on to the next phase. It's awesome. I love it. I've been loving that. You get a nice little break. So I was actually meant to use the shotgun for the next tank as well, that third tank there. But I ran out of shotgun ammo. And opening with the grenade is really important as well, because it actually does damage to the final boss. I was so nervous here, man. And time, there we go. And it's funny that even with the extra, like, roughly 2 seconds added in RTA time, I still golded by 0.1 seconds. So yeah, again, most of this was done in, like, one take. So, forgive me if it's sort of rambly and doesn't really have much direction. That's because it didn't, and it probably was quite rambly. But I hope you can sort of better appreciate why this is a really interesting speedrun, what goes into a good speedrun, what skills are rewarded versus, like, a high score run. Which I do think are really interesting as well, don't get me wrong. But I've been really, really enjoying the speedrun. For now, a lot of my focus is going to go into Time Crisis 2. Because I just got a copy of that. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this. Hope this was interesting to you. And if you want to watch me live, twitch.tv/ScioTV. Or subscribe for more unscripted, lacking direction, rambly, commentated runs. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.